my top 6 list.
The media at the time, which was only magazines, was pumping up Flex Wheeler. You know, Flex Wheeler, you know, Sultan of Symmetry, Flex Wheeler, you know, 93 Arnold Classic, you know, 94. And I mean, you're expecting this.
He managed to go from getting his pro card to being, you know, the top in Mr. Olympia all in the same year. You know, that was in 93.
His first pro year, he swept through everything. Every pro show, he won. And as the Olympia came, you kind of really expected for that to one day, you know, end up on his mantle.
Flex Wheeler, congratulations for winning the Arnold's Classic. And tell me now, how much did it help you to come out of this kind of momentum of winning the Ironman competition a week ago?
I think it played a tremendous influence on me, especially that was my first pro debut, and I won that show, and I think it gave me a little momentum going into this show, which I think I needed quite a bit.
Flex was always the heir apparent to the title.
Flex Wheeler was definitely looking to be the heir apparent to the throne.
It was the heir apparent. Logically, who would be the guy to win?
From that time, he was always destined to be the next guy.
I would have bet millions he would never win the Olympia. The first 5, 6 years of his career, he was a journeyman pro, had a good few shows, but you never really thought he was going to make the breakthrough.
When I saw him backstage in New York City, I knew that it was pretty much game over for me. It was night and day. There was Ronnie, and then there was everybody else.
We all took off our clothes and went out there to compete. That's when you knew that it was going to be a changing of the guard.
And I remember going into the show and being compared to Flex and Kevin and, you know, those guys that I had already won. And a couple of times they had put me in the middle, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty good here. They put me in the middle, comparing me to the big dogs of the sport.
I think in 1998, the world had never seen the total package that Ronnie Coleman presented. And when he presented that package, he knocked out a bunch of Hall of Fame bodybuilders in their prime. And although Flex Wheeler thought he was in the hunt, I don't think he was beating Ronnie Coleman in any of the poses.
My goal was just place the top 5, you know. I was like, man, if I can just place the top 5 in Olympia, you know, it'll be a dream come true. And I remember they called, you know, like 5th and 6th, and I'm still standing there, and they called 4th. I'm like, oh, shucks, I'm doing pretty good. 3rd, and I'm still standing there. I'm like, whoa. And then I can remember me and Flex standing there, and they was down the 1st and 2nd. I'm like, wow. I was truly blown away. And then Wayne, when he called out 2nd place, he waited for a long time.
Flex Wheeler.
That's when he collapsed, of course, the famous officer down move that he did. But I think that got to everybody. That made everybody in that theatre, Madison Square, got warm to this guy. Here was the guy, real emotion, at taking the sport's top title when nobody thought I had a chance. It was a rocky story, you know. Everybody was happy for him.
To be at the top, the best in the whole world, you can't get no better feeling in the world than that.
I suspect somebody cut this one open. Was it you? Maybe. Okay. I want you to know these are very, very expensive. You have to just adjust to whether he's going to be here or not be here for long periods of time. And the household is run more or less the same way, but there's just, I mean, there's a few differences, of course, because there's one extra person or one less person. And I have to buy another one now to get your other ankle.
At least I gave you money.
Yes, at least you gave me money. Every now and then it's challenging on me and him, but I mean, we're grown-ups. We understand this is the way it is, and it's okay. And, you know, technology helps a lot. But it's challenging on the children. the girls, you know, because they miss him. And as they get older, they understand better. You know, he has to go, but he'll be back.
I just don't really want to wash the dishes. Only if you come outside with me to play.
After?
I wash the dishes.
Deal. Lola is the one in black, and she is just like me. Susie, the one in blue, she's emotional like me, but in a weird kind of way, she's analytical like him as well. Lola, you gonna come to the swing with us? Okay, you gonna get in the swing with sister? Do you want me to push you? No. You don't need me to push you, you know why? Because you're strong. Strong like Dad. One reason we have so many kids is because he and I both love kids. You know, when you choose that, that becomes your world. And I don't know that you change into a different person or you just evolve into the person you've always been, which is the person who cares about the next generation and what happens with them.
He was a simple country boy from Louisiana that came from not having much of a chance to dominate in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie took it to another level with the size.
He was metamorphosizing into something that we'd never seen before.
Ronnie Coleman had reached a point where he didn't look human backstage.
Lee Haney already had the record about numbers. He had 8 Mr. Olympias. Ronnie matched that.
The guys that got second to Lee Haney, when you stack them up against the guys that were getting second to Ronnie Coleman, Ronnie Coleman was putting to waste guys that arguably could be Mr. Olympia.
Well, I was still working for the police department, too. I worked, my first 3 or 4 Olympias. I would work for the most part until the Olympia came around. The Olympia came around, I'd take like 3 months off and get ready for the show, and I didn't go to work or nothing.
I didn't even know he was a cop for a long, long time, you know, until he started beating me. So yeah, it brought a lot of attention to him and what he was as a person and as a man, you know.
You couldn't beat him in size, couldn't beat him in condition, and you know, when you just really feeling yourself, I mean, you know, peacock strutting with his tail, all his feathers out.
I think once he tasted victory, he didn't want to taste defeat, and that can move mountains as well.
People wanted to have that size. People wanted to adopt what he has adopted through his physique.
The Mr. Olympia for Ronnie Coleman's confidence was exactly what I think he needed to cement and put the ribbon around who he was. I mean, because it's like winning the lottery, but lottery's luck.
When I first started competing, I was 215, when I turned pro. And when I won my 7th Olympia, I was 296, almost 300 pounds. So I went from 215 almost 300. It was like a gradual thing, getting bigger year by year, so you couldn't really see a whole lot of size come on me at one time. But I do remember the first time I hit 300 because I couldn't bend over.
The bigger Ronnie Coleman years later was not the quality Ronnie Coleman that won in New York in '98. But the judges saw it differently, that Ronnie Coleman was just too big and too muscular. And that's, I think, the turning point in our sport where they started over-rewarding size over quality.
When he started getting bigger, started just losing that look, that small waist, and he just got too thick, which I think was a mistake.
Sometimes he was heavier and bigger and blockier, but he was on such another level in terms of the muscle size.
Ronnie Coleman, you know, still won the 8 Olympias, but it was questionable on the last